How do you feel respectability politics affects women's causes? Adia, go ahead, that one.
I think it has a huge impact on women's causes. As far as women have come, we still live in a patriarchal society. I know for me, when I go out to speak to people, try to get donorships, try to make connections in terms of relationships, corporate versus charity partnerships, I have to be very wary of what I look like, that I look quote unquote respectable, that, I don't have too much cleavage showing, that, my skirt length is where it needs to be. I'm not wearing too much makeup, because we live in a world where I will be judged by that, a huge part.
But is that right though? Should you have to change who you are for your charity undertakings? Do you have to change up your style, your dress, your demeanor so you can look more respectable to a man for your charity undertakings? Or woman.
Well, there's two sides to that, because I've had instances where I've been at events. I attend probably 70 events a year. Most of them are charity events. And if I'm there on behalf of an organization that I'm representing, some people that I work with will point out certain folks in the crowd that would be great potential donors, if you will. And so it'll be my job to kind of go over, strike a conversation, and then tell them a little bit about what we do. And it's been interesting, because with women, I'm comfortable with everybody, but with women, you kind of don't want to be too cute, because you don't want them to feel like, oh, who is she coming over here talking to me about whatever. And then with men, just like Kelly was saying, like, I don't want to be asked out on a date, though. I want to talk to you about this organization and how you can get involved in this cause. Oh, really? Well, can I take you to dinner? So that does play a part in that. So with that being said, I personally am a little bit more on the conservative side anyway, but I have to just be wary of how I'm viewed by whoever it is that I'm talking to. So if I don't want to advertise, if you will, certain things, then I don't advertise them, because the point of the matter is I want to talk about business. I want to talk about this charity, this cause, helping whoever it is that I'm trying to help.
And let's not get started with social media, because it's how you're perceived online too. You try to be respectable, but people are quick to look on Facebook, look on Twitter and LinkedIn and see, what did you do yesterday? Where were you? What are you wearing?
I think I owe it to myself to be myself, and I think that's the challenge, is really keeping the balance, because when you become, and I think Kelly is aware of this, when you become a brand, and I think we all are to a certain extent, but when you actually have a brand, you have to be very conscious of what you say, what you do, but at the same time, I owe it to myself to be myself. And I know that I am not always politically correct, but I do have to be conscious of the brands that I represent, those people that I work with, so I can't just say and do whatever I want, but at the same time, I have to still be real to who I am, and who I am, I may identify with a crazy joke or a stupid meme, but at the same time, I'm still doing what I need to do, or I'm still continuing to do the work that I do in the community, and I shouldn't be any less respected because I don't necessarily conduct myself like every other person or every other person in that particular field.
How do you feel about people expecting you to personally exemplify perfect womanhood before you can make a difference? So, for example, you have your popular figures like Kim Kardashian and Amber Rose, who have been criticized for not being good feminine role models.
See, people identify with what their experience is. So unfortunately, there are some young girls who may identify with the way she behaves now and maybe some of the things she has experienced. That's not necessarily a good thing, but she may be a positive role model in a certain sense for them. For me, I've had certain women who have been positive role models in certain fields, and there are going to be some young ladies that look up to Kelly and, Sandy, but we can't disregard their platform just because they, may be a stripper or they may be this or that. I think everybody has their own way, and she's a voice to some people. I don't identify with it, but she may be a voice to, a young girl who feels like she can't speak out or she can't be confident in who she is. I think at the end of the day, that's what I see from her. I don't care for how she communicates her message, but I think some young women might get that.
I think the important thing, one of the things we try and emphasize to the girls in our program is you must be an educated consumer. At the end of the day, I don't care what your intentions are as a parent, as an adult, you want to protect your child, they are going to be exposed to media. Mm-hmm. And so I think it's important for us to have conversations about if it's an Amber Rose, if it's a Kim Kardashian, if it's a Beyonce. Beyonce gets slammed for calling herself a feminist all the time. And I do not think that you can expect one person to be everything all the time for everybody. And so, you know, I think it's the watermelon thing. You know, you take a bite out of watermelon, you spit out some of the seeds. You know, I love when Beyonce does this. I'm not crazy about when Beyonce does that.
All right, so Sandy, what is the worst advice or the best advice you received about how to be a woman?
Oh, I'd say the worst was from a man who shall remain anonymous. But I remember I was in high school and this person said, stick to what you know. And I took that and I said, okay, you know, you have your niche, but is there a way that I can grow outside of that and do other things that I may want to do years from now? And it stuck with me for a while, you know, stick with what you know. But then I married my husband, it's going to be 11 years ago, and he said, do what makes you happy. And that was the best advice, because I felt when you're happy, you do things outside of what your comfort zone is.
As the man on the panel, what advice would you like to give to all of these women about their charity undertakings as women?
For one, you're all great women, so thank you guys for allowing me to be on this panel with you all. But my advice would be to continue to open up, continue to get outside your niche, continue to meet other people that may be great, and understand that you are not what you're trying to do, right? So your purpose is much bigger than you personally. So you may have to talk to someone you don't want to talk to, you know? And I'm not saying go out on that date with a guy that's obviously trying to, you know, talk to you, but then it may be another conversation. We may have to have a lunch date, and I'll have
if a date would help her raise the money for her business, should she do it?
well, I mean, sometimes you gotta take one for the team.
I've been in that situation before. I've been in a situation, hey, this person is going to be here, and it'd be really nice if you went and talked to them, and oh, by the way, wear something cute because they're interested in you, but this is how much they can donate.
I want to thank you all for coming out today. Thank you, Reggie Cotton.
Thank you.
Thank you, Vogue Davis, Kelly Fair, Adia Baker, and Sandy Torres. You all were wonderful, and I really am happy that you all joined me today on this panel. Thank you so much. Make sure you all visit us online at theaoh.org/T to learn more about this episode's guest and more about some good tea. See you soon.